There are a lot of characters in anime that we love to hate. Some of the most despicable and evil anime characters are also some of the most popular and well-known ones from their respective series. Don Quixote Doflamingo is objectively a war criminal, and quite possibly one of the most evil characters in the entire One Piece universe. But goddamn, is his drip absolutely impeccable or what? He may be a war criminal, yes, but your honor, look at his drip. Dio is one of the biggest sinners in the entire JoJo universe, being responsible for a lot of what happens in the show in the first place. But he's also an absolute icon and one of, if not the most memorable character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Anime Michael Jackson, aka Kibutsuchi Muzan, is out here hitting people into demons, but he's left an impression on all of us. Shamona! Ow! Skuna, more like Skunada's dick. Ashlad from Vinland Saga is probably objectively one of the most demented people in anime history. But goddamn, he's so fucking charismatic. Holy shit. I would literally let him do anything to my body with his swordsmanship skills, you know what I'm saying? But these characters, despite being the textbook definition of evil, are also some of the best and most memorable parts of anime. Even as I record this, all I can really think of right now is wishing I could isekai into the world of Vinland Saga because I want to give Ashlad's beautiful facial hair a No, I'm not down catastrophic. Hello everybody, my name is Hashi, and today I won't be talking about characters that we love to hate, but in fact, I'll be talking about the complete opposite. Characters that, well, I just hate. Characters that straight up ruin the anime that they're in. Sometimes there's a show that's like actually good and you want to keep watching it, but then there's just one character that's just so beyond any hope of redemption that you just can't fathom why everyone else in that universe is okay with their existence. Usually this character never grows in any meaningful way, or they have just seriously messed up behaviors that are just treated way too casually by everyone else around them. This list is actually not that long, thankfully, and I'm sure not everyone's gonna agree. This entire video is purely based on my own opinion and experiences, so you might have an entirely different opinion. And if you want to talk about a character that ruined an anime for you that I didn't mention in this video, leave it in the comments below. Anyways, alright, I've talked enough. Let me talk about the first character on my list for today. Sugo Nobuyuki, or Oberon, these nuts from Sword Art Online. Look, I know I already shat on SAO in my video about anime siblings, which you should go watch after this video, but to be honest, this guy sucks so much fucking elf ass cheeks that I think he truly does deserve his place on this list. Sword Art Online is one of those animes that I think you either love or you hate, and I am admittedly of the latter. If you've never seen it, the short of it is that the second arc, the fairy dance arc, is pretty infamous for, well, sucking balls. This shriveled up scrote of an arc featured an unnecessary incestual romantic storyline in a world that no one really gave a shit about, and this guy, Sugo Nobuyuki, also known as the Fairy King Oberon, which is such a corny ass nickname to give yourself, is the main antagonist of the fairy dance arc in SAO. He's introduced to us as the chief of the research institute known as the Wrecked Inc., which is ironic because it perfectly describes what should and does happen to this dude, which is to get fucking wrecked. He also works a side hustle as Fairy King Oberon in the VR MMORPG game Alfheim Online, utilizing players as test subjects for research on controlling people's emotions and memories. Which, you know, it's already starting off, I would say, pretty evil, you know? Long story short, in the first arc of SAO, people get trapped in a deadly VR game called Sword Art Online where they die in real life if they died in the game, or if you try to remove the MetaQuest 69 off of your head forcefully. Imagine this, okay? You're a victim of this incident. You are trapped in this virtual nightmare for like a year and a half. Someone finally beats the creator of SAO and you're finally able to escape this absolute dystopian nightmare and back to your reality, where, to be honest, the nightmare's not over yet because you're probably gonna have to face lifelong trauma from this horrible incident. You're excited, finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and then suddenly you're transported into an extremely mid-looking MMORPG game by this buffoon, and you're still stuck in this fucking nightmare and you have no idea why. And you also don't realize, but this clowning ass buffoon is also using you as a rat for research on controlling emotions and memories, which really doesn't sound like it would end very well for many people. So yeah, clearly this guy is an already massive piece of shit with a god complex, but on top of that, he's an absolute charisma black hole. A lot of times we have villains in anime who have done really unforgivable shit. The difference between these villains and Oberon though is that these other villains are charismatic, they have actual interesting personalities and backstories, or they're just memorable in one way or another in a very positive way. Then you compare that with Mr. Sugandi's Nobuyuki over here. What the hell is this shit? It's like comparing a level 100 Arceus with a level 1 Patrat. On a side note, I still think Watchog is the ugliest piece of shit to ever come out of Game Freak. Basically, this dude is memorable, but in all of the worst ways possible. Terrible piece of shit who uses people's lives for his own curiosity? Check. Absolute charisma black hole that somehow erases the concept of charisma from existence wherever he goes? Check. But then on top of all that, add on the fact that he's a Minecraft YouTuber? Okay, I'm sorry. That was a joke, okay? Because it's not just Minecraft YouTubers getting exposed nowadays, okay? It's just everyone. It's like f***ing Smash Bros at this point, right? Everyone's here, but everyone's just getting exposed. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say here is that this dude is clearly an adult, and he spends half his screen time basically lusting over Asuna, who is 17 at the time of this arc. So yeah, this is every Minecraft YouTuber's favorite anime arc. I'm sorry, I really have to stop. Like, he declares to Kirito in real life that he's going to marry Asuna. He says this while she's literally unconscious and still trapped in the game world, so the concept of consent is absolutely just non-existent. He also keeps Asuna locked up in the game in a fucking bird cage, and he constantly visits her just to harass her to the verge of tears. And then we get that infamous moment where I won't get into specific details, but this dude straight up just assaults Asuna while forcing Kirito to watch the entire thing. And then when he loses in the game, this little sore loser tries to kill Kirito in real life, only to get his ass absolutely handed to him. The fairy dance arc in general sucked so much ass that I gave up on the show, but Fairy Gun Oberon here was a really big part of why this arc sucked so much ass to me. I watched Sword Art Online when it first came out back in like 2012. I was in middle school at the time, and back then I had absolutely no knowledge of anything about the world because I was a sheltered little boy. But even then, watching this arc made me go, this arc is kinda boring and a lot worse than the first arc, but I also feel very uncomfortable watching this villain do all this creepy weird shit to Asuna throughout the arc. Back then, I couldn't really explain why this arc made me feel very uncomfortable, but now that I'm an adult, it's actually kind of shocking how gross this dude actually is. This guy was such an awful character that he literally made the entirety of Sword Art Online as a franchise worse just by existing. There's nothing redeeming about him, even from a storytelling perspective. He wasn't a villain that I wanted to watch. He was more like a mosquito that I wanted to like swat away, but the goddamn mosquito is so fucking nimble that I keep missing it, and then it keeps sucking blood out of my veins and making me more and more itchy. Just like the more I fucking think about this fucking character, the more I feel bitchy. And here I am now dropping bars because this guy sucks that fucking bad. It makes me mad. Okay, anyway. The spirit of Eminem just took over me. I'm sorry. I'ma suck a dick and then eat your ass. I've always had the opinion that traumatic events do have a place in storytelling. Some of the most tragic yet beautiful anime I've seen are about some of the darkest moments in human history. But I think there's a lot of nuance when it comes to telling a story about a very serious and traumatic event. And I feel like it's really easy to mess it up really bad. Elf King Doofus McGee over here is, for lack of better words, literally a preying on an underage girl. But not only that, we have to watch this asshole harass and assault Asuna throughout the season, because why? It really just feels like one of those things where the writers were like, oh, we're tackling deep and heavy subjects because SAO ain't no damn kids show. We ain't making SpongeBob or Doraemon type shit, okay? This is real adult storytelling. And then the storytelling is just us watching this dude sexually harass this girl numerous times. I'm not very entertained by this, to be honest. Usually I watch anime and shows because I want to have a momentary escape from the real world, and having this guy, who unfortunately does have similarities to some people who exist in our reality, just take up so much fucking screen time is just so painful to me, man. Boy, why am I watching this depiction of a piece of shit villain when I could just open up youtube.com and look up any commentary channel out there and see the same kind of shit but from real people? But yeah, this guy sucks so much ass that I think he genuinely made the show worse for me just by existing. I remember it was kind of hard for me to try watching through the first episode of the Gangale Online arc when it first came out, when the last impression I had of this show was this fucking fairy clown's face. And again, Fairy King Oberon? That's literally like the time I made an email called xxdragonswordZZ@gmail.com and proudly kept using it until one day a substitute teacher read it out loud to everyone in the fucking classroom, and I think that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Anyways, time to move on from this fairy shit and on to the next character on my list. Ren Yamai from Komi Can't Communicate. So Komi Can Communicate is a very wholesome romantic comedy series starring a pair of unlikely friends turned lovers. Komi-san is a girl known to be so beautiful that literally 99.9% of the entire world's population, including all of the fucking germs and bacteria, seems to worship her as a goddess. She seems like a cold person and very hard to approach, but the truth is that she has a debilitating case of social anxiety. Tadano is a seemingly extremely ordinary teenage boy who has hit level 99 in the skill of reading people and understanding their feelings. The two strike up an unlikely friendship when Tadano realizes that Komi-san struggles with anxiety, and so Tadano decides to help her achieve a goal of getting 100 friends by the end of her high school years. Yeesh! Over the course of the series, we meet a bunch of fun and quirky characters that all eventually end up becoming friends with Komi, as the two main characters slowly but surely fall in love with each other. I actually enjoyed watching season 1 when it first came out on Netflix. Overall, it felt refreshing to have like a wholesome series that was funny and mostly kind of like a cozy vibe too. If I was to make a pyramid of how I'd rank the characters, the top would be the two main characters. I really liked the dynamic between the two. I thought they were really cute together and I found myself shipping them a little too hard. And below that, there's a few other characters that we meet over the course of the series that are also cool and likable, like Najimi the goat. And then there's the many characters that honestly, these characters were kinda annoying, but it wasn't anything too bad. And then below that layer, you dig all the way towards the inner core of the earth, and eventually you go all the way down to hell. And that is where I would put Yamai. She is just straight up an awful excuse for a character, and actually ruined the show for me to the point where I couldn't stand to watch it anymore. First off, who is Ren Yamai? She's a student at the same high school as our main characters. Her one defining trait is that she is a yandere, you know, the crazy lover type who will kill for their husbandos or waifus. I can fix them. Her entire personality is that she has this extremely unhealthy attraction to Komi-san that quickly becomes unfunny, then uncomfortable, and then finally unwelcome. She has extremely violent, stalker-like, and perverted tendencies as she spends the course of the entire series trying to make Komi her girlfriend. Ren Yamai is the definition of beating a dead horse. Her one personality trait slash joke in heavy quotation marks is that she is obsessed with Komi-san and will resort to the most depraved shit imaginable if it means she can get closer to Komi. I think the worst thing that she does in the whole series, at least from what I've seen, literally happens in the 4th episode of the show. While walking to school, Tadano is kidnapped by Yamai, literally bounding and gagging this poor kid, and leaves him there. She then goes to school, where Tadano's absence is literally noticed as a plot point. This kidnapping is not a joke in any way. It is something that's actually happening in that world. And suspicious, they visit Yamai's house all together, and Yamai shoves him inside of the closet in her own room, literally threatens to kill Tadano if he reveals himself. Najimi finds Tadano in the closet, and Yamai is forced to admit her literal crime of kidnapping another student because she wants to keep him away from the girl she's so in love with, despite not knowing anything about this girl except that she's just very, very pretty. What the fuck is this, bro? The worst part about all of this is that she literally faces no consequences for her actions. Not only that, but she is instead rewarded for this at some point. The episode ends with Komi reluctantly allowing Yamai to become her 4th friend on the list of 100 friends. I think it's absolutely insane that this is an actual plot point that happens in this otherwise very wholesome show, and this is all framed in a way where Yamai is considered part of this big fun group of characters, you know, and she's just quirky like all of the other side characters, and she's definitely not an absolutely unhinged criminal who might need to be restrained. And it never actually gets better either. Let me tell you a list of some things in our world that will never ever change. The laws of physics, the past, the movement of time, and how shitty of a character Yamai is. After committing this literal federal crime, she continues to be this depraved whenever she's on screen. She's this demeaning little shit who thinks everyone else is beneath her, and Komi-san is literally the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. No, she is above Jesus Christ. She is the Komi-san, okay? Quote, Yamai has stolen Komi's personal information such as her home address, threatened her friends for getting too close to Komi, followed her around in public secretly, waited outside her home to try and run into her, tried to engineer confessions of love from Komi using social pressure, and dedicated an entire episode of her on-screen time trying to see up Komi's skirt, going so far as to use a puddle's reflection to do so. She's also frequently seen drooling after Komi like a literal animal. And again, the literal worst part isn't even the shit that she does in this show, it's that she gets pretty much next to no consequence for her actions. It's like Logan Paul Nepal, filming a dead body in Japan, only to have a comeback like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Except he then scams a bunch of his fans and steals their money, and yet we still see him face absolutely no consequence for these behaviors, except for a few expose videos. It's kind of uncomfortable watching a literal kidnapping happen in this show that's supposed to be funny and wholesome. And it's even more uncomfortable because the show makes it pretty clear that the kidnapping was not a gag. Like, if it was some kind of gag and it was just a momentary thing where everything goes back to normal right afterwards and it has no significant effect on the plot, then it would feel a little more acceptable, I think. But the series makes it very clear that Tadano was not at school and he was genuinely tied up in a closet, which I'm sure is maybe more than just a little traumatizing. And so to just see her not face any actual consequence for not just this, but anything she does over the show and just gets a free pass just really does not sit well with me. The same Reddit user from before puts it best here. Quote, "I don't think it would be such a problem for me if the show wasn't otherwise completely wholesome and adorably innocent. Furthermore, it's a story about mental health and the importance of social dynamics. So the fact that this gets such a pass really bothers me and tends to really take me out of the show when it occurs." Yo, spit that shit, brother. Yamai fucking sucks. Okay, she actually sucks. And we're supposed to laugh all of this off like, hee! Yamai is being a violent, quirky yandere again. Oh, classic Yamai. Oh, look, now she's kidnapping an unsuspecting high schooler because she's an unhinged and simp Lamau. Oh, she stalked Komi-san again? OMG, girl. So quirky, girl. I really wanted to like Komi can communicate, and for the most part, I did enjoy it. But Yamai is quite possibly one of the most unnecessary characters in any form of media whatsoever. So much so that I had to drop the show at some point because, oh my fucking god, she is so damn annoying, okay? And for today's last character that I like to complain about for the rest of this video, well, this is a character who's infamous for being one of the most degenerate characters in any form of media, and a character that I've definitely ranted about more than once on my channel. It's Minoru Mineta, aka Grape Juice from My Hero Academia. Where do I even begin? First off, what kind of fucking superhero name is Grape Juice? Like, you couldn't come up with anything remotely better? What about the Grape of Wrath? That's kind of cool. Okay, that one kind of sucks too, but it's still better than fucking Grape Juice, okay?
Hey, I'm Orange Juice.
Cool, what's your power?
I can throw orange balls and they stick to things.
Oh, cool. What else?
That's it.
Okay. What about you?
Hi, I'm Apple Juice.
Cool, what's your power?
I can throw red balls and they stick to things.
Look at this clown. You get the opportunity of a lifetime to become a superhero, and this is the hero costume that you decided to go with. I'm no fashion expert by any means, okay, but boy, this is quite possibly the only one time that I will unironically say this sentence and actually mean it. What are those? Okay, let's be real. We all knew this was coming. Mineta is one of the most infamous characters in anime for just sucking any sort of good energy in every single scene he's in. Like, this little shit is known for having one of the lamest superpowers in the history of all superheroes that has ever existed, but also for committing more crimes than actually helping solve them. Like, this dude is basically just known for harassing his classmates. He even uses his lame-ass sticky ball superpower to sexually harass others too. On God, bro, I remember more times he used this superpower for evil rather than actual good.
Before you become a hero, you should learn how to be a good human.
And if he did anything good, it really doesn't matter because it was probably like,
oh, I threw my sticky purple hairball and it luckily landed on a guy's foot, so now he's stuck. Deku, go United States of Smash his ass or whatever.
You know, something super insignificant like that. It's something that anyone else could have fucking done. Like the tape guy, he could have thrown his tape at the leg and stuck it on the tape, you know, and like held him there, and Deku could have smashed his ass. Any character could have done it. Admittedly, I think my hate for this little grape-headed shit is a lot more intense than what a lot of other people might feel towards him. Like, I personally have an irrational hate for this character. This guy spends basically most of his screen time either being a creepy pervert, harassing those around him and not facing any actual consequences for it, having an extremely unlikable personality in general. And the worst part about it all is that he doesn't do jack shit in the entire series, at least from what I've seen, okay? Also, I just wanted to point out the fact that Mineta has a longer compilation of him being a perv than actually being useful throughout the series. To be honest, I didn't watch the whole series or finish the manga, so who knows? Maybe he does something important at some point in the war arc or whatever, but who cares? If Mineta actually did do something important to the plot, plot and I was still interested in My Hero Academia, I probably would have dropped the show right there, because I hate this little shit so much that I don't want him to get any sort of redemption, because he does not deserve any. I am petty, okay? How can I cheer on a character who spends every waking minute of his life trying to figure out how to get his grubby little hands all over the girls in his class without consent? And the worst part is that all of this shit is framed in a comedic way where we're supposed to just laugh about it all.
Oh, look, guys, Mineta's out here grabbing women without consent again.
Classic Mineta. He's sticking his balls all over the I don't want to finish that sentence. From a story sense too, I just don't get how he's even there, okay? Like, what in the fuck were the administration thinking when they let this kid into their prestigious school? This little shit, you're telling me that out of everyone who tried to get into UA, out of everyone with the many different unique quirks and way better personalities, this little imp made it through the entrance exam? Miss me with that bullshit, okay? You can tell me Mineta stuck his balls to the ground and walls and whatever and trapped the robots that way all you fucking want, but I refuse to believe for 1 second that this little fucker spent a single moment not looking for a pair of tits or ass to stare at. Man, imagine being born in a world where everyone has a unique superpower and then you pop out of your mom only to find out that your superpower is sticky testicle hair. I guess maybe I'd also give up on myself as a human too if that was the case. Maybe that's why he is the way he is, you know? He was born with a superpower so lame, so stupid, and so pointless that he just gave up on being a decent human being, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. I hate this character. Having a side character that's basically just there as a gag most of the time is not a bad thing at all. In fact, most of the time, I think they add a lot of flavor to the world. Like Monoma, for example, whose entire shtick is his delusional coping skills comparing Class A to Class B with each other and whatever. It's honestly a character that I really enjoy. I think he's a good example of the annoying but funny trope that I think Mineta was really trying to go for. And I think Monoma still does more than Mineta actually does in the overall plot too, from what I've seen. But Mineta's entire personality is that he's a fucking pervert. And that's the joke with this character. The jokes involving him are, at least to me, not really that funny. I do think that there are funny moments in anime with like characters being perverted and shit, but I feel like Mineta just completely crosses the line. I think Mineta easily makes My Hero a worse series just by existing. Maybe that's just me. I'm not really sure. I do have a huge bias against him, to be fair, so I think I hate him more than the average person. I don't know why. It's just I have such a vendetta. And although he's not the only reason why I lost interest in keeping up with My Hero Academia, he was definitely one of the biggest things that really ruined the overall series for me. Anyways, those are some characters that I felt as though they ruined the anime that they're in. Feel free to agree or disagree. These are just my opinions after all. And if you have a character you want to mention, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I am very curious to see and hear your opinions. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video that I decide to make. Peace out.